This recipe is going to be the first recipe in a series that I want to do for you guys for the month of May. I know I'm behind on a couple of videos. I want to do at least one video a week, so I'm going to probably drop 2 next week to get caught up. But we're going to do a vegan brunch. So the first thing I thought about was crab cakes, and crab cakes Benedict was one of my favorite things. As crab cake Benedict is actually one of my favorite meals. I am not completely totally vegan, but I like to create vegan food and recipes for my family and my husband. So today we're going to start with the cilantro lime sauce, which I have here a cup of sour cream, and we're just going to put it in our little mini food processor, and we're just going to blend it all together. If you don't have a food processor, a blender will work just fine. So this is a cup of vegan sour cream. I like to use Tofu, but you can use whichever brand you prefer. Here we have a half a cup of vegan mayonnaise. This is Himalayan. You can use whatever you prefer. A 1/3 cup of cilantro, which is lightly packed in there, stems and all. You don't have to be stemming unless you want to. Now the recipe does call for fresh garlic, but I didn't have any today, so we're just going to use garlic powder and see how that turns out. We might have to use more, but that is 2 teaspoons of garlic powder and a half a teaspoon of salt. But you can adjust the salt and all the seasoning to taste. And we're just gonna do some fresh lime juice. I'm using a whole lime. And you're gonna blend that or process that until it all comes together. You still wanna make sure you scrape the sides down. And you don't wanna process it so much that the cilantro disintegrates in there, because it actually tastes better with nice little chunks of cilantro. So I'm going to mix that again, and then we're gonna see if we need to add some more garlic. Okay, that looks pretty good. As you can see here, we're going to go ahead on and give it a taste. Yep, that tastes good right there. I'm going to go ahead on and transfer this into a bowl, because we're going to need the food processor to mix the ingredients for our vegan crab cake. So we're just going to go ahead on and put that to the side while we get the ingredients for our crab cakes together. All right guys, now we're going to move along to our actual crab cake filling, I'm going to briefly go over what we're going to put in it, and I'll make sure I put all the ingredients in the description box. We have a can of chickpeas or garbanzo beans. We have a can of heart of palm. We have some breadcrumbs. These are Italian. You can use plain or you can use panko bread crumbs. That's about a cup. Vegan Worcestershire sauce, half a lemon, a quarter cup of vegan mayonnaise, and this is the liquid that comes off of the garbanzo beans. We're going to use this to kind of add as a binding agent for our crab cake. If you didn't know that you could use this and whip it up and make whipped cream, or it acts just as an egg white would act. So if you want to find out some different things with the garbanzo bean juice, it's called actually aquafaba. Just look it up and then you can get some interesting facts about that. Then we have a, this is just a frozen mixture of bell peppers and onions, teaspoon of Dijon mustard, and then we have some various seasonings here, which is the kelp granules, 2 tablespoons. We have 2 tablespoons of Old Bay, some garlic powder, zesty garlic seasoning from Trader Joe's, and then we have some garlic, some seafood seasoning, Florida seafood seasoning, the garlic one. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add the garbanzo beans, the chickpeas, into the processor, and we're going to kind of shred the heart of palms with our hands. That way we can get the right kind of shred we want on that, because we want this to mimic crab meat, and crab meat is stringy, so we kind of want to have that type of texture going on. So we have that. I'm gonna pulse that a couple times. Separate those. Not too much though. So this is kind of what we want the texture of those beans to be. Have a little extra water in here. I want to get rid of that. So then we are going to cut these in half. Then I'm kind of, see how when you open it up, how it shreds up. We're just gonna do that with our hands, and then we'll add it to our mixture. You can also do this with a fork, but I'd rather just use my hands. So after all of the hearts of palm are shredded, they're going to look like that. If you want them finer, you can make them finer. You can put them in the food processor. You can do it however you want to do it, but this is how I'm doing mine. So now I'm just gonna add the rest of the ingredients. Here are, and these were just frozen. I'm trying to not put any of that extra water in there. So we go with our Dijon mustard. I need a smaller spoon. I don't know how much lemon juice that was, but it was a half a lemon and that was pretty juicy. I will put the measurements in the description box. So what we're gonna do with the aquafaba, we're kind of gonna foam it up. You can use a whisk or you can use this little milk frother that I have. I'm gonna take it and create some little air bubbles in there. You see how that foams up? And then add that in. And I'm going to mix this and get all the ingredients incorporated before I add my breadcrumbs, because the breadcrumbs are going to add some additional seasonings because I am using the Italian and not the plain. That looks amazing. Let's add about that much, and then we can see how the mixture. Yeah, I think we can take all of that. So, I mean, you can adjust the ingredients accordingly because of course everything will be different. You know, the heart of palms may be different, may have more of a water content. The garbanzo beans, just, you know, take everything into consideration. All right, I think that is mixed up pretty well. Now, I'm gonna give it a taste and see if we need to add anything else. Nope. That's perfect. So, what we're gonna do, oh, that's really good. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna patty these out, and then we're going to put them to the side for a second. We're gonna patty them out, and I'll say we're gonna put them in the freezer for maybe about 5 minutes. And while we're doing that, we can get the tofu egg portion of our sandwich together. I guess it really just depends on how big, if you're making this for an appetizer or if you're making this for a a sandwich serving or a dinner serving, how big or how many crab cakes this will make. So let's see how many we can get out of this. We're gonna make them that size. Kind of going by the size of the English muffin bread size. So just uniform. They don't have to be twins, but kind of the same density. So we were able to get approximately 6 out of this mixture. So you can drop double or half the recipe as you see fit. I'll take a little bit off of that one. But if you want to make like little crab cake appetizers, or you can do like little crab cake balls. And for the crab cake balls, I would probably cook those in the oven to make sure they stay together. But today we are going to cook these just like on a griddle. So okay guys, look at that. I am going to drop these in the deep freezer for about 5 minutes, and we're going to go ahead and get the rest of our ingredients together. Next up, we're going to go ahead and do the tofu egg with the runny milk. Okay, now so we're going to move on along to the tofu egg, which I just have a package of firm tofu here from Publix, or you can get it from anywhere. You don't have to press it, but I just went ahead and drained the water out, which I didn't do a very good job. But anywho, we're going to slice this into 4 pieces. Try to get them as even as possible. And then because we are going to put this on an English muffin, we are going to want to round the corners off. And then you can just use the leftover tofu for like a tofu scramble. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't even have to make it round. If you wanted to make this crab cake sandwich on just regular wheat bread or white bread, whatever bread you prefer, you could just go ahead and keep it in a square. But for aesthetic purposes, we're going to go ahead and make ours into rounds or rounds. So to this, we are going to add what I call egg dust, which will be for your tofu. You can just make a little batch of this and use it for your tofu scramble, or anytime you're wanting to make some vegan eggs. You can even use this on just egg or what have you, just to spice it up a little bit. So in here we have onion powder, garlic powder, a little smoked paprika, some Himalayan black salt, which is what is going to give this tofu an eggy flavor, is the Himalayan black salt. And what else did I put in here? And turmeric. So if I left out anything, I'll go ahead and put it in the description box, but we're gonna just go ahead and sprinkle both sides with the egg dust. And then like sometimes when I make little seasoning blends, I'll just use an empty seasoning container and just mark on it what is in the bottle. So we're gonna season both sides of this liberally. I'm gonna add a little fresh cracked black pepper. And you know, tofu is a sponge. It will soak up any flavor that you give to it. So what we're gonna do now, we're just gonna put these to the side. We're gonna get our griddle ready and we're gonna go ahead and brown these up. We're gonna take our crab cakes out of the freezer. We're gonna, excuse me, we're gonna cook those all together. And then I'll show you how to make the runny yolk to go inside of our tofu egg. We're going to go ahead and assemble our vegan egg yolk. All right, and I have a little pot here that you can use on the grill. So I thought I'd just use it on my griddle. So in this pot, I'm going to add a cup of water. And then I have 1 tablespoon plus a teaspoon of cornstarch. Gonna whisk that up really good. Make sure we get that incorporated in there. To that we are going to add in 2 tablespoons of vegan melted butter. Or you can use vegetable or canola oil, whichever oil you prefer. And then we're gonna come in with 2 teaspoons of nutritional yeast, a teaspoon of black salt, and half a teaspoon of just Himalayan pink salt. And yeah, we're just gonna let that come up to a boil on here. It might take a little bit, but while we are waiting, we're gonna go ahead and cook our tofu eggs. All right, to my griddle, I'm going to add some grapeseed oil. And then I'm gonna add a little piece of our vegan plant butter. turmeric. I'm like, okay, this is looking a little pale. So that should be like 1/4 of a teaspoon or so. Just added that in there. And we're gonna cook our vegan egg for about 3 to 5 minutes on each side. Just to make it brown, golden brown. Lord have mercy. This is real life, y'all. This is how I cook for real. Put a little more butter over there. I'm just gonna let this cook up, you guys, and I will see you back when these are golden brown. And this is our vegan egg yolk. You see the color and the consistency of that. If you want it to be thicker, just add more cornstarch, but we kind of want it runny for this application. But this is just delicious by itself with some toast. And you know, you have you some dippy eggs. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead on and take this off. And let's see, I think we want to get these a little bit more brown, but we don't want to cook them too much because we still want them to have a texture of an egg, so we kind of still want it to be soft on the inside. Yeah? Okay. So we're going to give this a couple more minutes. I'm going to go ahead on and take that off, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, so this is how we want our egg to look. Our tofu egg to look like the golden brown. I'm just going to remove them to the square. And then I am just going to finish them off with just a light sprinkle of the black salt. And that's what really imparts that egg flavor onto them. And we're going to keep these warm, and we're going to put them to the side, and we're going to get ready to roll up. Okay, so now we got our vegan crab cakes out of the freezer. They set up very, very nicely. And we are going to add some butter and some grapeseed oil to our grill. You can cook these however you like. You can put them in the oven. You can cook them on the stove top, however you would like. I am only going to cook 4 of these since it's really 4 of us. I'm adding a generous amount of oil because I want these to brown out really good. Yeah, I'm only going to cook 4 of these because it's 4 of us and we only have... I'm only going to cook 4 of these because it's 4 of us and I only have 4 of the vegan eggs. So, and then what I'll do with these 2, I'm just going to wrap them in some plastic wrap and put them in the freezer. And then when we get ready to cook these up again, I'll just take them out the freezer, let them thaw in the fridge, and grill it up or put them in the oven or fry it in pan, however I feel like doing it that way. So, yeah, let's go ahead and let this cook, and then I'm going to change the battering on this one camera. And she'll put that to the side. And then we'll be back. Alright you guys, so this is what we are looking like after the first flip. I think it's been like 4 minutes or so. But I'm gonna let mine get really, really crispy, really toasty, almost burnt, because I want mine to be crispy on the outside, soft and mushy on the inside. You could have definitely breaded this with panko breadcrumbs on the outside. I would have done that, but I felt like I put a little bit too many of the Italian breadcrumbs in it, so I did not bread it on the outside. But it seems like it is cooking up nicely, just like this. So we're going to continue cooking that, and I think I want to get an avocado, put avocado on top with the cilantro lime sauce, the runny egg. So I'm gonna flip it again in a little bit, and then when I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and toast up our English muffins so we can go ahead and assemble our sandwich. And I think I'm going to have a side of potatoes with it, so be right back. You guys, so this is what we are looking like after the first flip. I think it's been like 4 minutes or so. But I'm gonna let mine get really, really crispy, really toasty, almost burnt, because I want mine to be crispy on the outside, soft and mushy on the inside. You could have definitely breaded this with panko breadcrumbs on the outside. I would have done that, but I felt like I put a little bit too many of the Italian breadcrumbs in it, so I did not bread it on the outside. But it seems like it is cooking up nicely, just like this. So we're going to continue cooking that, and I think I want to get an avocado, put avocado on top with the cilantro lime sauce, the runny egg. So I'm gonna flip it again in a little bit, and then when I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and toast up our English muffins so we can go ahead and assemble our sandwich. And I think I'm going to have a side of potatoes with it, so be right back. All right, y'all, we are ready to assemble. I went ahead and got one of the English muffins off of the griddle. Then we're gonna do some little avocado. Get that ready. So on the bottom, we're going to put some cilantro, garlic, lime sauce, actually on the top and the bottom. Oh, there goes my avocado seed. Okay, so let's get a crab patty. Let's get an egg. And then we're gonna take our yolk and put that right in the middle. Turn it off. Let's get some avocado slices. vegan crab cake.